It's Owen and Julien, and we're going to be making a video today on the topic of evil. And this is a topic that falls outside of our core subject matter. And I'm a little bit hesitant to make this video, and Julien was actually very hesitant to make this video, because we often see other teachers that teach our type of content, and they try to touch on it, and it can be very cringeworthy. And this video definitely will fall outside of our main area of expertise. But we want to make a video on the topic of horrific acts or evil, because as you're probably aware, there's a lot of fucked up shit happening in the world these days, like there always is, and there's been some stuff lately. You're probably aware of the massacre in Vegas yesterday. Both Julien and I have a lot of friends that were in that pit. Luckily, none of the people that we know were killed. Our good friend Larry Benet was actually trapped on lockdown above where that was happening in the hotel. So I had a pretty hard time sleeping last night, and it was interesting. And we just thought we'd maybe just take a crack at doing a video on it, because we have a lot of, neither Julien nor I have answers on this topic. We're definitely not a source of answers, and we don't know what happened. And if you're somebody who was affected, we're very sorry about that. It's a disgusting thing that happened. But we just thought we would talk about it, because I think both him and I have a lot of unconventional thoughts on the topic of good and evil. And we can't give answers to it, but maybe we could at least provide a perspective. I always feel like everybody in the world kind of has different unique perspectives, and sometimes people like us to speak on our perspectives. So we're going to make a video today about the topic of evil and what that means. And this will, like I said, fall outside of our area of core teaching, so we're not the experts on this, but maybe could point you in the direction to research more, and maybe give you more thinking about it, and at least kind of draw things to light and kind of spread awareness and things like that. Because both Julien and I have been studying social dynamics for many decades plus between the two of us at this point, and we've just seen a lot of stuff and could maybe point you in some different directions. The first area that we're going to just cover now is the idea of the psychology behind it and what psychologists have understood. And these are things that Julien and I kind of have looked at, but we don't have a clear understanding of it, which I seem to keep mentioning. Not a lot of sleep last night here. And that is things like sociopathy or psychopathy, or even things like borderline personality disorder. Okay, so we'll start off with that. Now, this is something that you're probably not aware of, but there's actually a lot of books written about this, like the sociopath, is it the psychopath next door or sociopath next door? Where what they say is that most people think of a sociopath as somebody who runs around killing people. But in fact, what some psychologists believe is that something like 1% to 4% of the world actually has sociopathy. And what sociopathy basically is that you have kind of like an empathy scale. And some people are hyper empathic, so they feel the pain of the world very acutely. And other people, conversely, feel almost no empathy whatsoever, and they're very, very cut off from their emotions. They don't feel emotions in the same way. And so for that reason, if somebody is cut off from their emotions, they don't feel empathy, they can wind up doing things like being very competitive or hurting people, and that at least allows them to feel something. I would actually recommend to almost anybody to look up sociopathy and to understand what it is, because when you recognize it and you know what it is, to be fair, sometimes you can get paranoid and you think everybody's a sociopath, and it's like every little nail point up, you're kind of hammering down like sociopaths everywhere, like that kind of thing. Don't do that. But when you can recognize that somebody lacks empathy and you know what character traits that you're looking for, you can become aware of it and not kind of get pulled into it. So that is kind of one thing to look at. There's also disorders such as borderline personality disorder, where people feel intense feelings of abandonment. There's a book about this called I Hate You, Don't Leave, or another book called Stop Walking on Eggshells. And you can read up on this and basically learn the different traits of people who have borderline personality disorder. Sometimes you might wind up dating somebody who has borderline personality disorder and get pulled into that world where at first they seem very charming and nice, and then over time, next thing you know, that they could be flipping out on you or accusing you of things. And a lot of the time, spouses or ex-partners of people who have BPD wind up killing themselves. And that's something that can be just so crazy and beyond the imagination, okay? So there's a lot of things like that. There's a belief that there's genetic components to this, as well as how people were raised, right? So it's a nature-nurture argument. And I've really just covered a lot of ground, like very, very briefly, but it's just kind of to help you to maybe Google some of this stuff or research it if you want to understand it. I have seen it, I have a few people who I know, including my cousin, who have actually committed suicide. And much like the guy who committed the atrocity yesterday, it's the kind of thing where you don't necessarily see it coming. My cousin Dylan is an amazing guy, and he's in his mid-30s with 2 children, incredible wife, and he killed himself. And you just don't see it coming. My cameraman who's sitting back here, Aaron, had his cousin kill himself. Aaron, how old was your cousin?
About 25.
25 years old. And did you ever see that coming, or?
No.
Never saw it coming, right?
Never.
And so we're sitting here, everything's cool, and then cousin kills himself. That happened to us in the same year. I wasn't super close to my cousin anymore, but and I regret that. But just knowing someone that you had experience with growing up, to do that, just being so out of nowhere, again, you just think, I don't get it. Like, why are you doing this? Particularly with a suicide, to where you have it where I almost feel like the person committing suicide, they're almost getting the easy way out, because it's the family and the friends that are left behind who are going to suffer. We've seen this with this year with Chris Cornell. Is it Chester Bennington? I wasn't a super close fan of Linkin Park. I think they're awesome, but he killed himself. And you just look at this and you're just like, I don't get it, right? So a lot of these acts that you're going to see, there's just this element of, I don't get it. Why the fuck would you do that? What were you thinking? I don't understand. And I think all of us have felt that, okay? So from a psychological or modern psychology perspective, if you're interested to learn more about these things, you can read books like The Sociopath Next Door. You can read up on sociopathy in general. There's a lot of YouTube videos on it. And I actually do advise that, not to get in a paranoid state that everybody's a sociopath, because it's almost like, I love Robert Greene, for example. I think Robert Greene's so good. He's such a great author, but sometimes I feel like anybody, like a lot of people I give advice to read Robert Greene, he has books like The 48 Laws of Power. They wind up in this kind of like paranoid worldview that everybody's like this power agent out to outcompete each other. And it's like kind of true, but yet there's so many instances where that's not true. And so things like sociopathy, I would advise you to learn about that, to learn about people who lack empathy and live essentially in a different psychological reality than we do, unless you are a sociopath, which I always appreciate support from anywhere. But you see the point, right? And different people just fall on a different spectrum of that empathy scale. And you can see things like sometimes people that grow up with that, they're hurting frogs and animals when they're young, and then they grow up and then they wind up hurting people, or they just wind up just doing a lot of like really fucked up behavior as they get older. Okay, so that's kind of the modern psychology side of it that I'm going to cover here. And Julian's going to kind of cut into the spiritual side of it. And something to understand, I think this is really, really key here, is that never take for granted how early we are in the cycle of modern society. So a lot of these areas that we don't know entirely the landscape of yet, at some point in the future, we probably will have a lot more knowledge of this. So in the future, when a sociopath dies, they might study their brain more, right? They've done studies on the brains of them so far, and they see the different activities, but we'll have a better understanding of these topics in the future, but we don't currently. Now, life on Earth is in my opinion, a huge mystery. I think the first thing that anybody should do, I'll do it even today, is do a YouTube just kind of click around of what the galaxy looks like. And what you'll see is we have planet Earth that seems big, until you realize that planet Earth is part of a solar system, which is part of a larger galaxy, which then is part of like more and more and more galaxies. And there is so much space in the universe that is almost inconceivable. I would urge you to really research the infinite nature of space and realize just how much we don't know. So given that we are sitting here early on in the cycle of modern society, hopefully we make it and we can keep going and learning, because it's so fascinating, push the boundary and learn more and more to live better lives. I think that it's important to understand there's so many things we don't know. So I always like to study the modern psychology side, or evolutionary side, scientific side. And then really I try to open my mind up to almost any possibility. And another way of understanding evil is on the spiritual side of it. And the spiritual side of it, it's much more pseudoscience-y, pseudopsychology, which basically means like it's people kind of making psychological claims, but they're not as verified as, say, through scientific means. And what that means is that you're getting more people who are kind of just very intuitive and sort of feel energies or human nature a little bit more, they'll kind of give their speculation on it. And I also find that fascinating. I'm very open to that because, like I said, we're so early in our understanding of humanity that I'm kind of open to anything. But I like to have a broad understanding of any field of study, essentially. So there's a lot of spiritual aspects to evil that we can also understand and really get into some esoteric ideas about it. And neither Julien nor I would ever claim to have clear knowledge for a fact, but it's just kind of cool stuff to study. So maybe you could kind of cut into some of the the spiritual side, or even some of the just psychological sides of this or anything like that.
I mean, I think a huge factor is just like the lack of social interactions that a lot of people have, and that's something where I noticed it in myself in terms of developing, like I'm naturally like an empath as well, but I cultivated even more and more of that through social dynamics, through going out and interacting with a lot of people. You start developing a feel, and I see it in a lot of clients where they're new, they're like, I don't really talk to many people. And then after a year of just adding that habit in their lives is just interacting with people, they're completely changed and they are connected to, say, other human beings versus completely cut off. And with social media, with the internet, like there's so much isolation that, a lot of people just stop going out. There's that need to like socialize, like they can't fulfill that need, or they virtually fulfill it by going online, going on Facebook, and there's just such isolation that it's hard to see like, here's another human being. It's like you look at it through the screen, you're out in the world, it's just like, these human type objects moving past you. When do you actually interact with people? Unless you make it a habit to go say hi to people, like it's so closed. Like most people have no one they can confide in, no one they can talk to. And that too contributes, probably quite a lot to, say you have a lot of negative thoughts, or say again, as we'll discuss, like some of that low vibration, or you could call it like evil energy sneaks up, you have no one to talk to. It's like, who can you really confide in? Like most people have no close friends. They have like superficial friends, or a lot of Facebook friends, a lot of Instagram followers, but no one they can actually talk to. So although we're very connected, we're also very alone. And that's something that's so helpful. And I'd recommend anyone to do it. Like start going out and just talk to 3 people a day. Just 3 people a day, and just get a feel for what's that's like. Like interacting with another human being, seeing them as a living creature, not just human label, and also like feeling like more of a sense of unity and belonging. Because that too, it's like not only if you live in social media, you just see like, okay, they're not people, they're just these names or virtual pictures. You also see only a certain side of them. So you might just see, especially say with Instagram or Facebook, you post like the best moments of your life, or a certain part of you, but that's not you in your entirety. So we compare everything that we know about ourselves, like oh, look at all my fucked up thoughts, and look, I feel sad this today. And you look at someone who's like laughing all the time, and you think that's them 24/7. So you compare like their best self with all that is you, and of course you feel disconnected, and you feel like there's something wrong with you. Like there's some defect inside of you, and once more, you can't confide in anyone, things bubble up. So I'd say, that probably like contributes quite a lot to these instances. And the other thing is this, as we call it, low vibration energy, or like trauma energy. And this is when you kind of get into like those woo spiritual, realms. But as we've both noticed, like going out and just interacting with so many people, like you can tell there's a difference, whether you want to call it high vibration, low vibration, whatever name you want to place, in terms of like the feel you get off people, whether they're like, usually in the eyes, you can kind of tell like if their pupils are like they're alive, they're here, or if they're kind of cut off, or if everything's just kind of just passes over, like nothing really resonates with them. They're just very dense, kind of in their head, not here in the present moment. If everyone laughs, they might just be, just on the side, like that. There's like that tenseness and closed offness, and that stuff there, if you experience it long enough, and once more, there's no one to talk to, it's going to keep amplifying and amplifying, and at some point, you're going to be so hooked on it, you're going to find ways to proactively keep amplifying it, and that's like the cycle that leads to like really horrible things, and no one really teaches you how to deal with it either. Like that's the thing. It's like you're trying to cope, you're doing your best, no one to talk to, that low vibration energy is like amping up, amping up, amping up. At some point you're hooked on it, and part of you wants to stop feeling that, but a bigger part of you doesn't. It's like if you're, say we get really upset over something, and you're like flipping out, you know, you have like, you're triggered, you have a pain body attack, and someone actually comes up to you and like, oh, actually the reason you're upset, it was actually it was fake. Like there's no reason to be mad.
Or a reframe or something.
Yeah. Even though,
or even try to like crack a joke to lighten the energy.
Yeah, but even if you knew like what you were mad about actually wasn't true and there's no reason to be mad because there's such a charge and momentum, you're gonna find a way to keep feeling that. Logically, you'd be like, okay, I don't have to feel mad, but you're still like so riled up. You're like, no, but still, like trying to keep that going, and that tends to happen quite a lot too.
Yeah. I think that this is an area that I have a really, really intimate understanding of because I grew up in isolation. So I understand how it feels to be in high school and see the cool kids having fun and just fucking hate them and resent them, and seeing them laughing and thinking, how fucking good would it feel to just piss on their parade in some way and have them be upset too. And I think a big reason why you can feel that way is because you feel like you don't relate to them anymore. And as a human being, you want people to understand you, and you feel such pain that if others could just understand it for a minute, you would feel closer to them. And so I have an understanding of me in my youth being so isolated due to having, maybe if it was light level autism or whatever it was, where I couldn't interact with the world, and I felt isolated and I felt angry about it and frustrated. And you know, you see pretty girls and you have no way to talk to them, and you see cool guys and you don't know how to relate with them. They can even mock you because they view you as an easy target, and then that builds up more and more resentment. And in my opinion, what happens is that when somebody's in that mode and they see other people having fun, what starts to happen is they feel this instinct to fuck it up. So it's interesting how, like, with a lot of this terrorist stuff, they want to do it like in a fun place, like in a nightclub, or in a cool concert where people are joyful and people are having fun, and there's just this urge to ruin it. Now, if you get into some of like this woo-woo energy training stuff, which neither Julien nor I know for sure what's real or what's not as far as energy, high vibration energy, low vibration energy, but we've looked at that as a model, and it is fascinating that after decades of study of social dynamics, a lot of that stuff that you never think you'd believe in or that you'd ever think could be true, it starts to make fucking sense, and that a lot of those models actually allow you to predict the behavior of people who you know. And like I've had it where I've had coaches who literally would coach me in energy work, and they could say, okay, describe, a person in your life, and I would describe it, or they could meet them and they're like, okay, they're gonna do this and this and this, and they would be spot fucking on predicting their behavior simply by understanding laws of high vibration energy and low vibration energy. And one of the laws of, say, high vibration or low vibration energy, if you believe in this, and again, like, notice that we started off in this video looking at, say, models of modern psychology. So you gotta be clear here. If you're gonna look at the energetic stuff, look at the modern psychology and the science so that you're not in an echo chamber. You don't wanna be in an echo chamber where you're just hearing more of what you already believe. You wanna challenge your mind to look at areas that you don't fully have insight into. Like, I would recommend to anybody, get a working knowledge of at least a basic level modern psychology, like the DSM, and just at least understand it so that when you see people and interact, you can recognize. And also, don't get paranoid and think that everybody has a personality disorder or a condition, but at least just be aware of it. I think if more people were aware of it, we could see these things coming a little bit more. But let's look at the energetic side of it right now so that you're kind of getting both models, because this is a little bit less discussed, a little bit kind of harder to access or find sources of it, so we'll cover that here today. One of the laws of energy work is that as you move up in energy, you become you become a target. Okay, so somebody like, say, a Gandhi or a Martin Luther King, as they're moving up into high vibration energy, it's like the low vibration energy is targeting them and wants to kill them. So as you move up, this is why actually a lot of beautiful trains of thought will get attacked in the mainstream, because the mainstream media is at a certain energy level, and so when something that's beautiful starts to move up, they can attack it. That's why a lot of mainstream media could attack any kind of holistic nutrition. Like, I haven't had so much as a common cold since 2012 because I do holistic nutrition. But if you were to put that like in the mainstream media, like pharmaceutical area, they'd be like, this is full of shit. Like, you should just take antibiotics and eat the modern American diet, and like all this shit, because it's like it's solutions that actually are very high vibration, the lower vibration energy will attack it. So to somebody who's consumed and steeped in low vibration energy, if they see a big group of people having fun, there's an intuitiveness to fuck it up and to ruin it. It's an instinct. It's maybe to feel related to. It's maybe because they feel isolated, they don't feel included, but it's also an energetic thing. And I'd ask you yourself, like, it's important to recognize this in yourself. When you see a bunch of people having an awesome time and you feel like shit, is there anything in you that wants to ruin it? Maybe you've had a spouse or partner where when you're having fun and they're in a mood, they try to ruin it. Well, things like this is like that on a massively exponentially magnified scale, at least to some degree. And we're kind of get into the reasons why. But try to get an intuition in general of what is presence, okay, being present to the moment, or high vibration energy, and then try to get a sense or feel for what is low vibration energy. Look, how do you think about this? Think of it this way. Think of when you've had if you've ever read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, you should if you haven't read it, what he calls a pain body attack. You ever have it where like you lost your keys, you lost your wallet, and then your mind starts looping on painful topics, right? It just starts looping on it. You go into what's called a pain body attack. Now think of when you're with like, a big group of your friends having fun and everybody's laughing and having a great time, and that's when you're in a more high vibration state. Maybe a beautiful sunrise, looking out over an expansive view, looking at a child, having fun with your grandparents, and what we call flow state, okay? So you're not so much thinking about the past and you're not so much thinking about the future, but you're very present to the moment. Like, just try taking a deep breath right now. Don't even think, just put your awareness on your breath, just okay? So recognize present energy versus low vibration energy. Present energy is sharing, giving, empowering, abundant, offering, infinite, creative, flowing, expanding. These nice feelings that come out of you, maybe if you're doing public speaking or if you're out socializing on a great night. Versus low vibration energy is very fixating or angry or dense, right? High vibration energy is very light. There's a density to low vibration energy. Everything has to be hard and scarce and me against them instead of win-win and so on and so forth. So you can begin to see this, okay? There's a trust in the universe and a going with the flow in high vibration energy, and there's like a fighting against the current that can happen in low vibration energy. These are very vague terms, and this is not, scientific. So just get the sense of it, okay? Even if it's a little bit outside your realm, just get the sense of what those are, okay? If you don't like the woo-woo present to the moment stuff, just think like a good mood or a bad mood, right? There's a lot of science around flow states. Maybe look up the book Flow, things like that. Okay, so you get the idea. So what begins to happen over time is that somebody will typically access a high vibration state or a low vibration state with a higher degree of frequency. And so think of when you got in the worst mood, okay, if you want to understand this. Think of when you got in the worst mood. Well, hopefully at some point, I hope if you're watching this, that at some point you came out of that mood. Now, also though, think of when you're in a great mood. Well, unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, at some point you're going to come out of that mood, right? So where is your default? Somebody who becomes like this, what begins to happen is they go into that lower mood and they stay in that low vibration state. Now, like Julien said, when you're in a low vibration state, if somebody comes and offers solutions, you don't want to hear it, okay? You don't want to hear it. Now, in spiritual woo-woo jargon, they would call that you don't resonate with the solution. So somebody who's in a very low vibration state, if you joke with them, they're kind of like, they'll either roll their eyes or they don't want to laugh with the joke. It's like whenever you talk about empowering things, they're like, eh. Whenever you talk about how big one is whenever you talk about how they're in control of their own emotions, they don't want to hear that. They'll often be like, no, it's just all about results. Why could you have any control over your emotions? Like they just don't resonate with it. But meanwhile, if you talk about negative stuff, they perk up. So I want you to really, really notice what makes people perk up. Like if we're talking to someone in a low vibration state, or if even us ourselves are in a low vibration state, it's like, you know what, man, the world is so fucked. And you'll see the person perk up like, yeah, and then they want to talk about it, and they want to go on and on because it's feeding the existing emotions in their body. Versus somebody in a high vibration state, if you say the world's so fucked, they're like, it can be rough. A lot of bullshit in the world, but then they go back to laughing. But then if you joke with them, they want to laugh. They want to joke. They want to have fun. They want to hear about how they're in control of their emotions. They want to hear about all the possibilities and fun shit.
Look at what you resonate with in terms of, say, movies, in terms of music. When do you perk up? Like when someone, say, gets fucked over and someone's like angry. Like if you listen to music that makes you like really mad, and that's when you perk up. The topics, again, it's like good news, bad news. If you hear like someone laughing, do you want to join in? Or if like you hear someone bitching about something, you want to join in and be a part of that. Doing that type of audit, like what do you resonate with? When do you get turned on? And just look at your day, like what emotions do you experience the most? What states are you in the most? And what thoughts do you have the most? Because we think every day is like a new day, but we're really living like that Groundhog's Day. Like 90% of your thoughts today are most likely the same thoughts you had yesterday. You wake up, same concerns on loop. You go through the same fucking habits, same worries, same fears, same what about this, what about this? If you're someone who's mad, you're probably thinking of that same thing over and over again, and with time, it just keeps amplifying and amplifying and amplifying.
There's always an extremity of anything. So if you yourself can feel negativity, imagine the extreme version of that negativity. So for example, say you have a messy room, your room's messy, and maybe you're not working that hard at work. Well, the extremity of that would be, say, somebody who's homeless, whose whole life is a fucking mess. So you look at a homeless person, you're like, well, I don't get, why would the person be homeless? I don't understand. But think of like the kind of like meandering thoughts that you have, or angry thoughts that you have, the disorganization that you have, the victim thinking that you have. Well, if you magnify that to an extremity, that's like a homeless person. Conversely, think of your most positive traits: happiness, resourcefulness, taking responsibility, not being a victim. Take all that and then magnify that. Well, now you have, a multimillionaire who's really happy, who's on top of their lives. Like anything that you've experienced, you can magnify it, and then it's hard to believe, but some people kind of live there. And so, part of our purpose in life is to get to the point where we recognize what are positive thoughts, what are empowering thoughts, us taking responsibility, high vibration thoughts. If you like modern psychology, which I do, emotionally healthy thoughts, like examining, like studying modern psychology and saying, how do the most empowered people in the world think? How is my thinking different from that? How could I maybe shift some of my thinking? And understand that things like positivity, that is a fucking muscle. Just like going to the gym, the decision to be positive is a muscle that you cultivate. Some people are genetically predisposed to negativity and depression. Some are genetically predisposed to positivity and being high vibration, whatever. But it's always 50-50 nature nurture to whatever extent. And that 50% that you have control of is big time, big time. If I look at myself, for sure I'm in that like some of my I don't even know if I told you this, like my grandparents on my mother's side, like my grandfather died like seeing ghosts and things like that. Like probably mentally ill to some extent. My grandmother on that same side, she died from complications from smoking cigarettes, but she was incredibly whacked. I mean, I don't want to speak of the dead here, but she was really, really in victim, wouldn't talk to members of my family for years. Died in isolation more or less. My grandfather, who was a colonel in the military and a great man, but he had a lot of anger issues. I grew up depressed out of my fucking mind. When I see some of these acts, I get it. And that's probably a bad quote for the mainstream media, but when I'm saying I get it, what I'm saying, and I think all of us to some extent get it. It's just that you feel a moment of that, and then you come back. And unfortunately, some people, they don't have the resources to be pulled back. Look, think of when you're in your worst mood ever, when you can't be pulled back. Well, what happens for some people is that they live there. Just like how some people live in this positive state and it's hard to pull them out of it. And it's something that I think is a really key observation. I'm really kind of blow your mind here, okay? This is like a really cool one. I think not a lot of people would ever talk about this. But you'll notice it, I think, if you watch. Is with high vibration and low vibration energy, there's a steadiness that comes in the pupils when someone is in high vibration, and a steadiness that comes in the pupils when someone is consumed in low vibration. So what you'll see is like if you yourself are kind of like hitting into state, as we might call it, or getting in a high vibration state, as you're getting there, you'll notice that it's almost like a tea bag being steeped in water. You'll feel that great flow state or happiness, those happy chemicals, whatever you want to call it, coming into your system. And you'll notice that as you get totally at peace and in the moment, your gaze will become more steady. But then kind of when you fall out of it, you'll kind of look away more and you'll be more like trapped in your head. So if you study, say, somebody like Eckhart Tolle, whatever you call him, he has a very steady gaze because he's steeped in presence, which is beautiful. Well, also, when you look at sociopaths, like a Charles Manson, they also have this very steady gaze that's shark-like. but you'll notice that it has a different feel to it that can even make you feel disgusted or nauseated when you look at people like this. And what happens is that it's like, I've seen it where people who I know, who I don't need to name names, but people that I know essentially, I watch them as they kind of, it's almost like a battle for their soul going on kind of thing. As dramatic as that fucking sounds, I don't even know what else to say. And you'll see them, like maybe they'll hear me or Julien or whoever kind of talking about high vibration, and you'll see them kind of trying to get into it, and they'll have like moments of it, but then they get pulled back down. Moments of it, they get pulled back down. And then later, you'll see them accessing kind of lower vibration more and more. And then weirdly, they kind of go from being somewhat confident to like really confident, but it's because they're steeped in low vibration energy, and suddenly they're just really fucking confident. And this is, what I'm gonna talk about here, this is incredibly esoteric, okay? This is like, when you read like really weird spiritual texts where like 80% of the text is just whacked out, but there's maybe like 20% of nuggets that you can filter out of it that's really, really fucking brilliant. So in spiritual work, again, there's no proof. This is complete and utter pseudoscience, okay? There's no proof of this. But I think if you kind of just listen to it and you give it a chance, or maybe let this marinate for maybe a year, because a lot of this, when I would hear about it, I was like, this is fucking bullshit. But then like over a year or two, I would kind of consider this, and I'm like, maybe there's something to this, particularly when you're somebody who's like hyper logical, then when you start, when this starts to make sense, it's like, whoa. But then again, when you consider the infinite nature of the world and what we don't know, you're like, well, who knows, right? So in spiritual work, in some circles, they would say that you have like the source, okay? And that as a spirit, it's almost like we're a little chunk of source energy that got broken off from the source. And some people would believe that actually the reason why we haven't seen intelligent life come and visit us, and really pause and think, I need you to really pause and think about this, okay? Logically. Think of the number of years involved in the galaxy. Think of the technological progression that we've had as a society in just 100 years, okay, once we cross certain technological breakthroughs. So think of like the iPhone. The iPhone X is coming out. Whoopty shit, right? Which by the time you watch this video could be the biggest joke of a phone. It will be for most people that watch it. So technology is advancing. Now you have Elon Musk trying to go to Mars. At the rate that technology is advancing, when you just consider that there for sure would have been other intelligent life that would have figured this stuff out at least 100 million years ago, because 100 million years in the history of the universe, almost fucking nothing. Why haven't we been visited by intelligent life yet, that we're aware of at least? Probably you think that you have. Maybe you're one of those crazy people. You got abducted and probed. But the basic idea is, why the fuck have we not been visited? What's going on, right? And again, do a YouTube of the galaxy. Like, go do this while you're watching this video. Maybe we'll overlay it, okay, to really get a sense of this. Why haven't we been visited? Some people might say that the reason why, well, there's a lot of really cool explanations why. Some people think that as society advances, we naturally destroy ourselves, is one of the theories, a great theory. Another one is that we could be in like a video game simulation. A really weird one, and a lot of physicists have this, is like, first you have like religion, right, where it's like, God, right? Then we get in like science, and it's like, this fucking God thing's like fucking bullshit. And then as they go further and further down the rabbit hole of physics, like they come back to like, maybe it's just God. Like they can't figure out the equation, and they start to like look to God again, or that we could be in like a video game. Like there's all these interesting theories that advanced physicists would have about this. You can research this. So one possible consideration is that we always think of it like, oh, maybe the other race is like out there, but maybe it's that we're actually isolated because we're in a certain dimension. So maybe like rather than going to say heaven or hell, we actually move away from source and in through different purgatory dimensions, right? So imagine if Earth, as a just thought experiment, was actually a purgatory, right? We think that we're in Earth and go to heaven or hell, but maybe we're in some kind of weird purgatory. And some souls are souls moving away from the source, or God, whatever you'd call it. God is a loaded word though, right? Not organized religion, but like the source. And then some souls are actually moving back, right? So they're moving away or moving back. And the way that you might recognize that is like, you have some friends where no matter how much you try to help them, they fucking hate you if you try to help them. They think you're manipulating them or tricking them if you try to help them. Whereas other friends, it's like they want to be present, they want to move up. Whereas it seems some people are inevitably just moving down, and you do everything in your power to stop this, and you can't fucking stop it, and it's fucking bewildering. Well, when you pause and say as a thought experiment, maybe they're a soul whose soul's journey is to move away from source right now, and I'm stopping them on their soul's journey. Maybe they need to experience that. as part of their growth. Maybe my soul already took this path of being like hyper negative and moving down. I learned and now I'm coming back, right? And what some people in spiritual growth would say is that it's an act of grace that would allow that soul not to have to go into extreme pain or into further hell realms and to turn around maybe even here on this earth, to be able to turn around, okay? Now, whether you believe in this or not doesn't matter, but just look at the model, It's like you don't even have to believe in that, but just as a cool model, it's like, well, maybe that just works as a way of thinking about it to change your behavior. But as a thought experiment, in the same way that I'd encourage you to look at modern psychology and understand what a personality disorder is, borderline personality disorder, bipolar, sociopathy, psychopathy, and you have to have at least a light level working knowledge of this without becoming paranoid and thinking everyone who's charismatic and a bit of a dick is a sociopath out to get you, because people start to think that. Without doing that, just having a working knowledge, I felt like I benefited, Julien feels like he benefited from having just a working knowledge of some of these like kind of new agey spiritual ideas, because whether they're true or not, it's an interesting way that you can look at life and it becomes a predictive model. So weirdly, a lot of these models, whether they're exactly accurate in their metaphysical description or not, wind up predicting behavior better than the modern day psychology. And that's where it gets fucking trippy. So using energy work, we can actually predict what people are going to do. We can predict their behavior by understanding high vibration or low vibration. And we can see it as it's coming a mile away. And so this is why, like, I've seen friends of mine where if I've seen them going into low vibration energy, unfortunately energy typically expands, and somebody who's moving up will keep moving up, and somebody moving down will keep moving down.
One thing I say too with the, whether you decide to believe, the souls are either moving up or not, is don't use as an excuse to say not help someone. It's like a nuanced point, but like, I see that it's the same with the law of attraction, whether you believe in that or not. I've heard it so many times where it's like, oh, I don't really want to help that person because they attracted that. That means that they need that. Or, oh, that's their journey to go down, so see ya. It's like, no, don't use an excuse not to do anything, obviously.
You know where I think I got to that, by the way? It was because you've probably watched me do this, to where I try to help people to the point I get consumed in it. And the more that I try to help, the more blowback that I get. And it's to the point that I'm like, I think I'm stopping them from something that they need to experience here, clearly. Yeah. Because it's so crazy that, and then you learn that, but then when you meet somebody who you could tell is moving up, and you help them, it's like, boom, 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 and it's like, it's just so quick.
Yeah. Well, what also helps, like, understand, like, or it's something that if you choose to believe in or not, it helps you give you an understanding of, like, why they keep moving down. Because that's the thing, too, is like, you're trying to help them and you're like, why do they keep going? And you're like, what the fuck's going on here? So it provides you with, perhaps one interpretation of that. However, it's true, like the same as if you help someone to move up, it's just like boom, boom, boom. If someone comes up to them and helps them move down, it's boom, boom, boom.
Drugs.
Yeah.
Partying in the wrong way. Negativity. Echo chambers, like these like terrorist groups that like feed it.
Well, actually, that's another good audit question. It's like, who are quote unquote your people? Like the people with whom you feel like really comfortable and at ease with, and we all tend to think like, oh, it's, I guess the cool people, or if you're into personal development, it's the happy, successful people. But like, when can you truly be you around those people? Like for me back in the day when I was hanging out around people where I viewed them as like, oh, above me, like perhaps more successful or just happier, more positive, I could do it, but it took a lot of effort. And it was kind of like I was playing a certain role. And then when I go back to my people who would say gossip a bit more, et cetera, I could like, oh, finally be me.
Yeah, the positive people are an energy drain when you're in low vibration. When you're in a super low vibration state, if someone even touches you, you're like, don't touch me.
Yeah. Yeah, so who are your people? Around who can you be you? And the other thing too, similar stories, like there's one specific moment, I kid you not, in my childhood where I was watching this movie. It's a French movie called Les Inconnus. It's a comedy movie, and I was there and all my friends were there and we were all watching it, and everyone was just laughing every 2 seconds, like laughing like uncontrollably, and I was the only one who just didn't laugh. And I was in like a different like reality, if you choose to believe that. And it was crazy. Like even part of me was like, maybe I should try to why am I not laughing? Force myself laughing. I would get so pissed that they were laughing. And then a couple of them, you can call it like, why aren't you laughing? And I'm like, and it was just like, well, fuck you guys type thing,
You can do a fake laugh like, heh, or you can like roll your eyes at it.
Yeah. But that little glimpse there like stuck with me, and like I mean, you could just see if I stayed isolated like that, how that would just amplify, and how you just disconnected from that. And that's another question, like how often do you laugh? You know, is it once a day? Is it a lot throughout the day? Is it once a month, once a year? Was the last time like you really laughed uncontrollably? And can you allow yourself to laugh? And that's something I noticed, like the more you start moving up, you allow yourself to experience and endure something like laughter. Like instead of going to even like a comedy, like improv show, instead of being all in your head, like logical, like, oh, I see what he did with the joke there, can you let go of that a bit, be present, and just experience the laughter versus just being closed off to it. Just think like heavy or light. That's like a good way. Heavy, light, what are you drawn to? And people who tend to be like into low vibration get really hooked on like the material, anything that's like very concrete. You know, now that doesn't mean that you should let go of the material completely, but you'll see where they're obsessive about it. One with, say, success with women is like obsessed with how many people, like girls they've slept with. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's like super common with guys, like, what's your, you know, list? Like how many on your list? And you can just see like they're obsessed about that. It's not even about the joking, like, hey, did you have a good time out? It's, well, did you add the little checkpoint there? Did you add the new name? If it's someone who's into success, it's like how much money? How much money? Is like this obsessive, like compulsive, just desperate vibe, and obsessed with like having more and more of the material, you know, in a way to, you know, distract yourself, you know, perhaps from, as we discussed in a previous video, the awesomeness that is life,
the Denver video,
to distract yourself from presence. Mm-hmm. It's like, fuck bringing my awareness to what's going on in here, outward, 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 outward. And as you start moving up, you shift that to what's going on inside. And of course, you still enjoy, you know, the external. I mean, here we are in fucking Hollywood, but there's a different relationship to it, and there's no longer that compulsiveness.
Yeah, and the key, I love your phrase there, a different relationship to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you change your relationship, but it's not like you don't try to find yourself and cling to it, trying to enhance a part of who you are. You know, it's more like your presence, and in a way that actually allows you to finally enjoy it because there's not like that need behind it. If you think of like your default set points, like whatever state you're in the most, simply due to the fact the way that we're conditioned, like the fact we live in a society, and that no one teaches us how to process different emotions, process trauma. A lot of us, like, it's very shit. You know, we're just stuck in this coping state. And if no one tells you, well, if you don't even understand how that happens, and no one shows you a better way to cope, some of the things that are just like horrendous, like not always, but in some cases, are just ways that person's trying to cope with themselves, but they just don't know any better. You know, it's like, say you're in like, even like a ghetto, like, you know, in Brazil, like the favelas and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are your options? Like, you feel like shit. You're in a very, you know, shitty place. Everyone's offering you like, here's the shitty solutions. You don't know any better. Like, there you go. And
you resonate with those solutions because you're so distanced from your high vibration. You're so distanced from yourself that you don't know up from down anymore.
And you won't even see it. And that actually brings it, I mean, a little all over the place here, but like with the alien thing you said, like, they might, here's another whack, just to bring some more wackiness, they might even be here, but because they're in a different, say, reality or dimension, like they're too much for us to process, that they might be right here, but we just don't see them. It's like the solution's here, but we don't see it.
The way to think about that is, if you yourself have studied self-development, you've probably showed some incredible solutions to friends of yours. And it's like they can't fucking see it. And you'll see this to where, when someone who's in a lower vibration state is around the joking or the laughing, it's almost like they're disconnected from it. They can't feel the temperature of the room. And that's the ones that really do alarm me too, because, and I've been there, and that's why it alarms me, because like, when I see that, I'm like, I know what that is. I was in that. Oh fuck, you know, right? And you forget about it when you've been out of it for so long, until it gets rubbed in your face, like an incident from last night. Like, you forget that anyone could be left there. It seems like kind of like a bad dream that's over, right? And then the bad dream's over, but you forget that some people are left behind in the bad dream. I mean, that's what I would say to my cousin Dylan that commits suicide. Like, that's the problem with suicide. And, you know, my other friend Alex commits suicide too. And like, when you're in that horrible pain body attack, at least somebody, if you're still alive, somebody can come joke with you and tickle you and clown around and go, it's just a perspective. It's in your fucking mind. It's just a perspective. You can come out of it. You could feel different and everything could be different. But the problem with the killing themselves is the finality of it. Like, I want to go to Dylan or Alex and be like, dude, it's all good. Let's go party. Let's have fun. But I can't because they're gone. You know, like, come back so we can tell you the truth that it was just a perspective. But they go so deep into it. And then and then you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are, and you start attracting other people. It's like these ISIS guys where like, they're in this negative state and then they resonate with this bullshit. They start looking at forums. Something to be understood too, with the advent of the internet, we now have all these niches. It's called the long tail phenomenon. Look this up. So the long tail phenomenon means that there's just as many albums being sold, but instead of, say, Michael Jackson selling 30 million albums, because there's like 10 guys being promoted by big companies, there's like thousands of little people, right? Like, you and I are part of the long tail phenomenon, where, you know, we do, you know, maybe a couple 100K views per video, maybe 50K views per video, whatever it is, and it's this long tail where we have like a little niche audience. Well, the problem is there's a flavor for everybody. And what that means now is that whereas in the past, somebody who's predisposed to that rage, negativity, or hurtfulness can find that echo chamber, can find that niche to further reinforce those beliefs, which then feeds them with more of that energy and then wants to vent that energy. Now, understand, imagine you're in the best mood of your life. And when you're in such a good mood, you want to go make everybody laugh. It's like if you go out and meet people at a nightclub or a bar and you're having a great time, there's this urge to go approach people and make them laugh. But you can also imagine that when you're in the worst fucking mood, maybe you have a spouse or partner, it's like you want to make them feel it too. And that's because that energy that's in you, it wants to spread. High vibration energy wants to spread. Low vibration energy wants to spread. And unfortunately, like say you're in such a high vibration state that you just want to like get in front of a crowd and fucking make everybody laugh and make the whole world happy. But when you're stuck in that like those extremities, not you, but when a person is stuck in that extremity of a low vibration state, they want to traumatize the world. And that low vibration energy, when they go do an atrocity like that, like last night when that happened, when I was sitting at the Roosevelt, I was having a kale salad at the fucking Roosevelt, and the whole room is traumatized. You know, the main girl I'm seeing calls me, can't sleep. I had a hard time sleeping. Friends of mine have a hard time sleeping. That low vibration energy wants to use the mainstream media and spread throughout the fucking world to put us all in a low vibration state. The best way to get revenge or fight back, so to speak, but really it's not getting revenge, but just to verbalize it like that, is actually to enjoy your fucking day. Like, that's the best response. I mean, we've got to make changes in laws and stuff, but you know, there's only so much we can do as individuals. But the main thing is, like, you got to enjoy your day. Like, even me letting it rob me of a bit of sleep, like, the best thing I can do is don't let that energy in and keep enjoying my day. And then if I have energy like that, use it in a proactive way to make change. Like, maybe, I know this video can influence even one fucking person, I don't know. But the point is, like, parlay that into something that makes a difference, but don't let it affect you. Like, that's what I said to anybody I know who like lost sleep over. I'm like, that's what that energy wants. It wants to traumatize you. And that physical versus present energy thing is incredibly fucking nuanced, okay? This is an incredibly nuanced distinction that takes time to get your head around. So let's expand on it a bit. The argument that somebody in low vibration would say about how they want, like, what they'll basically say is they'll say, look, you shouldn't be happy unless you get a result. Unless you produce a result, don't be happy. You're lying to yourself. You're this hippy-dippy woo-woo fucking retard being happy when you didn't produce a fucking result. So reward yourself when you get a result and be mad at yourself and mad at the world when you don't get a result. The world's against you. Compete against the world. Make your fucking point. Make your presence known. You know, all that kind of stuff. So it's a hard thing to argue against because it's kind of true. There's a truth to it. So there's this really counterintuitive truth. The counterintuitive truth is this. When you go into a higher vibration state, things that in a competitive, physically oriented, low vibration state, you could do that with like 100 times less effort. Like, maybe you're in a low vibration state and you go hustle it out for like a month straight, killing yourself to accomplish a goal. But in a high vibration state, you wind up like just taking a nice walk in the park and you're in such a great mood, you're smiling, you meet somebody who could help you. And it's almost like snakes and ladders. It's like, do you want to crawl up the fucking ladder or just slide down the snake, right? It's like you could row and row and row, but you don't realize there's this sail right there that you can put up, and then you'd still have to row. It doesn't mean that you disengage, but with the sail powering you, you can get into the high vibration current. There's this high vibration jet stream. In spiritual work, that's what they would tell you. You believe it or not, that's up to you. But you could get into this high vibration jet stream where it becomes easier. So when we do, say, public speaking, we can pre-plan every little thing, and we do programs like that. But you can also just get in a great state, let it flow, and even if it's not perfectly laid out, it could actually connect with the audience, even with less effort, could connect more deeply. It's like you could learn every technique to attract a partner or a spouse when you go out, or you could just get in a great mood, be you, share, and you get almost the same result. Now, the problem is people go too extreme. They think great mood solves everything. No, there's still technique. There's still technique and nuance and how to, and that's why we love that too. We don't go too far into either. But as you go more into high vibration and you go more into presence and you orient yourself around that while still taking action, what happens is life actually becomes easier. And what you'll find is you do get older. Like I'm going bald, right? I'm going bald. But there's a childlikeness or brightness in the eyes. There's a suppleness in your thinking. Things can be easy or hard. You can make life hard or you can make life easy. And when you're going in more and more into low vibration, you're making it harder and harder. What happens is people that go more into high vibration, they often just get more vibrant. Things are getting easier. They're winning more. They look younger than ever when they're 55, even though you can tell that they're aging. But it's like they're aging in their body, but becoming younger and more childlike in spirit in a good way. And you're combining that youthfulness and childlikeness in spirit with the aging of the body or with like life experience. And it's the most amazing thing in the world. Versus somebody who's going more and more to low vibration, you'll watch them get more wrinkles on their face, bags under the eyes, their pupils shrink in. But here's the most fucked up part. If going into that low vibration worked in the long run, I might even be more open to it. But what I always see is that people that do that, they wind up really fucking up. And that's not to say that we won't fuck up, because we kind of push the envelope too, okay? And we have, right? And so don't take us as examples, but just try to put this on your own life. There's a movie like, say, Casino or Goodfellas, or the movie Straight Outta Compton, or Blow, where what you see is like, it starts off where like, it's just fuck, the success is raging, the success is blowing up. But what they teach you in energy work is there's a bill that gets paid at the end. So, you know, a dictator like Saddam Hussein is like he's winning and winning and winning, but in the end, he's gonna go down in fucking flames. Look, we push the envelope. Maybe that'll be, you know, knock on wood. But I'm just trying to make the point that, you know, because you could also go down in flames when you're trying to do something high vibration and then the LVE comes in and knocks you down, right? Anything can happen. What I'm trying to say though is people will say to us, well, how do you explain Gaddafi or, you know, Dick Cheney, or these people that are, you know, in low vibration to whatever extent we can't truly know? Well, they got to win. You know, Scarface, like the movie Scarface. Well, Scarface is winning, but then he goes down in that blaze. And so...
Or you don't see the ways necessarily in where they're losing. Like, yeah, they might win in the physical, but what's happening on the inside?
Oh, Dick Cheney would be a great example.
Yeah, it's like he's winning, is he? So there is a bill to be paid, but sometimes it's not as obvious as you think it is, but there's always a bill.
Mm-hmm. Now understand that low vibration energy, the purpose of it is to take you down. This is part of the challenge with these like massacre motherfuckers, is that it just, you shouldn't even be calling them motherfuckers. In a way, like you don't even want to feed into that. That low vibration energy, they want to hurt themselves. They want to hurt the world and then get hurt themselves. So what happens is sometimes when you make a disincentive, like if you do that, you'll be punished. The low vibration energy running that person wants to get hurt. And that's very, very counterintuitive. They want to destroy themselves, that they don't fully know it. A classic example of the physical thing is like take drugs. You're so disconnected from present energy that you do these really intense drugs and you're so, like take cocaine, right? And you're so in the physical, it's so much like take. It's like cocaine depletes your ability to contribute. But it's for you, it's take the dopamine hit from the coke. And there's a theory in energy work that says that when you use drugs and alcohol, essentially, and this is really whacked out, okay? But essentially this is, a warning note, super whacked out. But weirdly, a lot of people who study this stuff in depth in the scientific and psychological community wind up coming to these conclusions, which is so fucking crazy. Imagine if you had like an aura body like this and it protects you, okay? Now imagine you do drugs and alcohol. And so there's this low vibration energy that's coming to attack you and get inside you and steep you in it. Now, when you do drugs and alcohol, it's almost like, imagine that you're like a castle and the enemy hordes are at the gate, but you have walls in this fucking castle, okay? Now what happens is, Imagine that you start blowing holes in the wall. So you've got your castle wall, and you start exploding holes in it yourself from inside. Well, the hordes are like, hey, let them keep blowing their castle open. Let them do it. So the hordes go away. So here's the key. Follow this closely. You start to believe that when you blow up your own protection walls, that the bad energy goes away. So one spiritual, I've never even done coke or any drug, but the point is, one belief is that that good feeling that you think that you're feeling, it's actually that dense energy that we all feel, that kind of refrigerator hum of dense energy that we all feel, that low vibration energy, it goes, he's hurting himself. He's gonna hurt himself or others. Go away, give him a reprieve. So the hordes at the gate go away, and then you're like, this feels fucking great. Keep blowing the holes in the castle wall. But then later, once you've had your little party of blowing holes in the castle wall, the hordes just fucking swarm in. And this is one theory for why you see people drinking, and it's like they're fucking possessed. The low vibration energy has gone into them and has taken them over. Just a theory here, pseudoscience. I don't know this. I don't have a vision of this shit. It's just some shit, some ideas that I learned that weirdly, when you see someone drunk getting negative, it kind of looks like a spirit's taking them over. Now, part of the reason why I think guys like Julien and I have even looked at this is that when we do public speaking in front of large crowds, it sometimes weirdly feels like you're channeling something, like some spirit took you over. I'm able to sing songs, do weird accents, come up with ideas that I don't know where they came from when I'm in that mode. And then weirdly, when I'm in a negative mode, especially in the past, because I don't really experience this so much anymore, I would often feel as though something negative was like fucking running me. And growing up, it's like some kind of fucking demon was in me or something when I get so negative and I'm looping on it and I can't control it. If you look up videos of Elliot Rogers, who was this guy that hated so many people, he killed a bunch of people in Santa Barbara, Isla Vista. And funny enough, he hated the success of the women community, hated me, probably wanted to kill me because we would spread a message of positivity, growth, people coming together. Now, funny enough, this guy proactively hated me, and then the mainstream media would try to say that he was a fan of our stuff. So crazy, mainstream media, right? Like, that's like a vegetarian and a meat eater, completely different, but they're in some way related due to meat, and then saying they're part of the same group. This guy hated us. If you look up videos of him, you can see in his last days, look up Elliot Rogers, whoever this guy is, and you'll see him going in his descent into madness, and it begins to look like a spirit has fucking taken him over. And he looks in the camera and he's like, yeah, motherfucker. Like, and it's this really steady gaze as if he's being empowered and fueled by the dark side of the fucking force. So whether you believe that or not, I don't know or care because I don't know if I do. But one thing that I did notice is that the model kind of works. So how do you put up an antenna for high vibration energy where you'd be drawing down high vibration energy, whereas how do you put up an antenna for low vibration energy? When Julien and I will go into a seminar, for example, if we take the mode of, we're gonna make money today, and we're gonna fucking look so cool, and we get in that fixating energy, we start to lose power, and it just gets pure fucking weird. Now, some seminar speakers, you can see this, they're feeding off audience reactions and power, and you can actually see some seminar speakers consumed in low vibration energy, and all of a sudden now it's powering them again, but they're gonna pay in the long run. So if you wanna be consumed in low vibration energy, make it about you, your money, getting the reaction that you want. You'll see this in when we've taught success with women in dating advice. When that guy needs to get laid, when he needs to get the reaction, et cetera, they're going into low vibration energy. Even if they get the success, it's just this weird loop. It's in Buddhism, they call it the land of the hungry ghosts. It's like this fat-bellied little creature, and he has this long straw, and it's like he can never fill his stomach. Versus when you're drawing from the source, and you're always full. Okay, now the problem is when you don't even know what that is, there's two problems with this. First of all, if you don't know what that is, if you don't even know what it means to be present, if you can't shut off mental dialogue, if you can't meditate, you don't even know what that is. But going more so, if you're being run by low vibration energy, you don't know you're in it. And anybody who challenges you, it's like, and you'll see this, like whenever you present ideas like this to someone consumed with very impacted low vibration energy, they will react violently against this. Like it's like, "Arr!" That was part of what convinced me into believing stuff like this, or being open-minded to it, I guess, or considering it. I was like, why is it that the people in low vibration are so like, whereas people that you can see visibly are in high vibration are like, maybe, who knows? Yeah. So why is that? So that's part of what convinced me into it, was that all my most LVE fucking homies would be like, and people that were more positive were like, maybe that's, we don't know what's in the world, maybe that could be. It doesn't matter whether that's true or not. It's just an interesting model that, over thousands of years in spiritual work, people began to believe. So something like, say, alcohol, it's actually, in spiritual work, they would say that it's summoning those negative spirits into the person, creating fights and demonic shit. And something like, say, giving or charity work, like if you feel like shit, I challenge you, like go to a soup kitchen or something like that. Just do anything to help people without wanting something in return.
Don't post it on social media.
And don't post it. And then basically you move up, okay? And you'll see how different you feel. Like if you just feel like fucking shit, try helping somebody and notice how quickly you summon down what you call present energy. The challenge is when somebody's in low vibration energy, like if you break your leg, your brain knows that your leg's broken. If you break your arm, your brain knows that your arm is broken. But when your brain is steeped in low vibration energy, when you've broken your brain, there's no brain to know what you're in. And if you're being run by this stuff, you can't even find your way back to that narrow road because you're so deep in the weeds in it, you can't find your way back. Like we could have found that guy who did this yesterday. We could tell him all this. It's not going to make an impact because you'll see it when someone's in low vibration energy. They're so retracted. You all joke. They can't joke. They can't joke with you. They're disconnected from the temperature of the room. And when they get really fucking dark, they're now feeding off the desire to hurt other people and themselves, and they're gathering power off it. It's like the dark side of the force, like the Darth Vader shit. And basically, and they're going straight to fucking hell, and they're gonna bring as many people as they can with them.
If it sounds wacky, just think of whenever you're like triggered to have a pain body attack. Whenever people hear that, it's like, what, being possessed by someone? It's like, we're all possessed at time, usually by, say, past trauma whenever you're triggered. Like when you get really upset, usually like go hang out with like a family member. It's like, oh, I've forgiven my parents for that. And then you go hang out with them and you flip out. And you can usually tell after the fact when there's like, you won't like say, oh, I was triggered, but there's going to be a little bit of guilt or a little bit of shame around it. And it always involves blame. And that's the other tells, like, how do you know if you're in this low vibration state when it's about you and when there's an enemy or enemies? It's like the whole competitive versus collaborative. And an exercise I actually do with people where I bring them up on stage, so similar to public speaking. I bring them up on stage and I show them, I make them talk like for 30 seconds about, say, their favorite movie. So for 30 seconds, and during those 30 seconds, I prime them to take the headspace that this is a cold audience, no one here likes them, and you have to win over the crowd. So it's you trying to make yourself look cool and the crowd's the enemy. It's like you have to prove yourself. You're fighting against something. And it's so heavy, and you're just like, ugh, and it's like so hard to do. Then I flip it around. I'm like, okay, now imagine that the crowd's on your side cheering you on. And I even make the crowd like cheer them on, go again. And it just fucking flows. And similar to what we said before, it's changing your relationship with that. It's you're still taking action, you're still here alive, but you change your relationship with that action. And that's something that, if you're in this low state, you're like, no, you need pain to be motivated. No. There's another channel, paradigm. As you said, another paradigm that's available where those results, it's like, it's about the results, you need motivation, like, will come way easier, way faster. And you'll actually enjoy them. And the other big point, which you said, and this is also, if you want to get woo-woo, a spiritual belief, is that, we are all, going back to say source, we are all one. However, we've forgotten it. You could call it like the forgetful ego. Like that's really what the ego is. It's like, I am this. I am Julien, I'm this body, and this is me, I'm disconnected from everything else. And we forget that, although, yeah, this is you, you're an expression of everything, and in a way, whether you choose to believe this or not, we are all connected. The more you tell yourself, this is me, I'm disconnected, me, competitive, enemy, blame, people out to get me, the less secure you'll feel. And the more you're gonna have to be attached to the physical to cultivate more resources, more money, more physical security, because you're fucking alone. When you start letting go of this ego, when you start remembering that you're source, remembering that we are all one, all love, all being, all infinite, whatever you want to call it, the less there's that need, because the more secure you feel. the more you feel like life has your back. The less you need to control, the less you need to like hang on to this physical to be secure, the less you have to have your guard up, like people have to get me. And the lighter life becomes, the more enjoyable life becomes. And I mean, that's really what we're ultimately all after, is like this sense of belonging, this sense of security, this sense of unity. And that's what we tend to forget. It's like, do the way, again, that we're conditioned. You know, you could blame like society, you could blame social media, you could blame the way that we're raised, you could blame that we're not taught, you know, empathy or compassion, or that we're all taught to put on this front, that we just like, it's so easy to lose touch with like that sense of unity. And that's what I said before, it's like, talk to people, get to see the behind the scenes of people. If you see someone who's closed off, try to go talk to them. And the more authentic and real you present yourself to the world, I mean, that'll have such a strong impact too. Like the more we can just drop this lie that we're all so perfect, like this is me, it's like, no, look, we're all fucking human. And the more there's that sense of belonging, I mean, the better. Because in all those instances where it's like you're looking up, it's like, they're different than me. They're different than me. And I mean, this is, again, I have no authority in this, but like probably one of the reasons that actually allows someone to do such an atrocious thing is like, they don't even see any kind of connection to those beings. It's like, they're not my kind. You know, it's like if we pick up a rock and throw a rock. Like the rock doesn't feel pain, it's a rock. Because there's no longer that sense of belonging.
It's also so hard in our society to even engage with people. I mean, the fact that you or I had to study cold approaching other people to even be able to engage with people, and that we had to learn like a technique to even be able to do that. And the average person is never gonna make an effort to do that.
And it's shamed too, which you could even say it's the low vibration trying to keep you down. It's like you're shamed, it'll come up with all the excuses, it's, yeah.
When I was isolated in college because my girlfriend dumped me, being like, I want to go talk to people and make friends. And I would try to stop them on the street and I looked so weird. And then because I was so stuck in my head, I was freaking them out. And then I was further reinforcing that. That was the fucked up thing with Elliot Rodgers, was that he was convinced he wasn't good looking enough. This guy was incredibly good looking, at least more than enough. Had the sick ass car, rich parents. It was completely this reality that he had created from himself of disconnectedness. It's so crazy. And that's the thing, is that when you see these acts, it's so fucking crazy that you forget that some people are in that.
Yeah.
But then you have to remember those moments, like in my youth, where you did feel like that, and then realize there's a more extreme version of that. And if someone stays in that for long enough, they invite in enough demons. Think of your worst pain. Think of, because if you're generally positive, you forget what that's like. But understand that that horrible pain could just get worse and worse and worse to the point that you're consumed. And that the only way out is almost to keep going down and down until you're getting empowered by fueling off hate. But likewise, there's another side to it where you can go up and up and up and up, where you feel connected to everybody and you feel in flow and you're with the current of life and sharing and spreading positive energy. And when you learn the behaviors that summon down positive energy versus when you learn the behaviors and perspectives that summon low energy, you can begin to see something there. And I mean, that's why even for me, people are like, why do you never drink or never do drugs or like try to eat like really healthy foods or meditate or take herbs or, you know, things like that. Laugh all the time. Even like some people will see like, you know, videos of us in front of crowds. They're like, are you guys like fake laughing or something? We live this. We actually try to like just keep summoning positivity because we've come from that lower place. I did that. I got to see that. I know what that is. I've had enough. But unfortunately, some people haven't had enough. And they need to go down to experience it. Like, I believe that's part of life and why we're here spiritually, is that we're here to see what's not gonna work. Those negative perspectives, when we see that they don't work, that's what it takes for us to surrender. So a great deal of moving up, they call that surrender, where you say, I am going to align with the high vibration energy to the point, and as fucking whacked out as this is, to the point that it is me. The reason that I've had a personal relationship to this is that also, not only have I been there, but I've lost friends to this. So I feel like in the same way some people lose a friend to say HIV, I've lost friends to low vibration energy. As weird as that sounds. And I've seen this where I have a friend who's vibrant and growing, and then part of the personal development journey is you're moving up so quick that for some people it's too much, and they swing back. I had an ex-girlfriend who, when we first met, it was the most blissful thing in the world. And it was like that for a long time. Now, I was not a perfect boyfriend by any means. I tried my hardest, but I teach dating and stuff, and there's a lot of issues that comes up with that you couldn't probably obviously know what those are. So, there'd be fights here or there, but for the most part, like one of the most beautiful souls I've ever been with. So then all of a sudden she would start having these like outlandish, psycho rage attacks, maybe once every 3 months. And then it became once every 2 months. And she'd be rubbing her head and screaming and shrieking, and it was like a different voice was coming out of her, this rage, things meant to trigger me, and it looked demonic. Then it would start happening maybe once a month, then once every 2 weeks, once a week, a couple times a week, once a day, until it kind of became who she was. Later what happened was she went and had sex with some other guy, came back, started shrieking at me, hitting me, going nuts, began doing, after we'd never done any drugs or alcohol for years, started doing drugs and alcohol every day, eating junk food, harming herself, and her eyes changed. She started getting weird wrinkles in her face, bags under her eyes. She could no longer take pictures without putting massive filters on them, and just going down, 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 dating abusive guys. It was out of control, and I watched this. I've seen it with friends of mine who are on the up and up, and they just start making these crazy fucking decisions that I beg them to pull back from, and I can't do it. I can't pull them off the fucking ledge. And I began to recognize this when I was younger, when people were going into this. With my ex, what I began to realize was that low vibration energy, like she actually told me at one point that she was having dreams there was a demon pushing down her chest. And all of a sudden, when she started blowing up on me like that and kind of traumatizing me, it got in this weird mode where like she'd kind of blow up at me. And then a few days later, I'd have these weird feelings that I'd never had before where I'd blow up on her. And then she'd have these weird feelings blow up on me. And the weirdest experience I had, I was once out hiking and camping. And because her and I were in this weird pattern, it was almost like passing a beach ball back and forth with low vibration energy. And what happened was I was away from her for 5 days. And it was like I felt this weird need to like blow up on her, because normally we would have these fights every couple of days towards the end of our relationship. And I'm never like this in a relationship. I'm super chill because I just like to, have fun. I don't care. We learn all this stuff to have fun and not have to care about this and just have only upside. And I literally hiked off that trail in a rage to go blow up at her. And as I was hiking off the trail, I could feel this anger in myself. And I was like, I wonder what it would sound like if I vocalized this. And I was like, motherfucker, fuck. And it was like a demon talking, like something different from me. And I was like, there's something in me right now. And I don't know what the fuck it is. And then I blew up on her. And then that continued until that weird explosive ending that I saw. And her life now is just really messed up. I've seen this with, friends of mine that get drunk.
Cool.
And it's, just ultimate negative. It's like a spirit's possessing them.
Well, there's no end. Like our other friend in common who's like started with drinking, smoking, weed, drugs, all the way to heroin, to, like attacking another friend of ours, like with a knife, threatening him with a knife, just like crazier, like no end.
Because the purpose of low vibration is to take you down all the way. And that friend of ours is somebody who got hooked on even heroin. The ultimate in the physical, the ultimate like land of hungry ghosts. The little fat, like look this up in like Buddhist idea, like the little fat belly with like the long straw, trying to find pleasure out here instead of finding within here and then attracting it, while simultaneously taking wonderful action to make results as well and integrating the two. So these are things that we've seen over the years. We've watched, we can predict as people will move up or down. And I can only speculate as to what the extremities of that are. And it seems like the world that we're in has so much beauty and positivity, but it also has a lot of really, really fucked up stuff in it. And I think your goal as a person is to continue to grow in your spirit. Even if you don't believe that exact way of thinking about it, just think about it from a psychological perspective. You're growing in positivity. You're growing in your addiction to positive energy, but also not being one of those lazy people who just uses that to be laissez-faire and not take massive action. Learn what attunes you to high vibration energy or low vibration energy. And this would be kind of thing I'd leave you with, okay? Yesterday in the world, the 50 people, there was 50 or 60 people killed yesterday in Vegas. But there's actually, the highest killers in the world are heart disease, cancer, lung respiratory infections, mostly from smoking, car accidents, strokes, diabetes. These are the killers, and these kill in the millions and millions of people. I think in America it's about 2.5 million people a year that are getting killed from this. You could Google this, okay? So the amount of death that doesn't get reported, that's not sensational, is unimaginable anyway. So you think of those 60 or so people and you just want to curl in a ball. But there's hundreds of thousands of people that died yesterday from cancer. Hundreds of thousands, like numbers so big, like 50 is almost worse. Like it's almost like bungee jumping can be more scary than skydiving, because the bungee jump, you're near to the ground, so you could orient yourself to it more. Whereas with skydiving, I've skydived tandem, it's almost not even scary, because it just looks like this big cartoon. It's too inconceivable, right? Like our solar system, you can think about that, but when you look at like the expansiveness of the whole universe, you can't conceive of it. The number of deaths from heart disease and cancer and stroke and all that, car accidents, is so high that we can't conceive of it. The real threat is like processed foods, essentially, and inactivity that's killing everybody. But the thing about an act like yesterday is that you're seeing evil being birthed into our realm, into our world. And in the same way that you have a joy around the birth of a child, you see evil being birthed into our world. And it's meant to traumatize us. And a lot of people I know who have gone into this low vibration had trauma as a kid, and they never dealt with it, and then it split off parts of their mind, makes them retracted, and they go back into it. So understand that what you saw was evil, an evil act being committed, and that's what sickens you. Because it's not like you're crying every day over all the cancer deaths, right? You're not crying every day over all the heart disease deaths. Go Google this, the number. We could list this maybe if we have time in the video, I want to get this out promptly. You're not crying over that. The funny thing is that a lot of the processed foods and the chemicals and pharmaceuticals and opioids and things that are killing people are low vibration energy. Like the pollution of the world, the killing of fish, the killing of nature, the processed foods that are killing us is low vibration energy. But it's not as obvious, right? But the purpose of bringing evil into the world is to traumatize us. And the best way that we can move forward is obviously to change things and address it, obviously. But to me, in my subjective opinion, perhaps as equally important, is also to keep having fun, to keep enjoying ourselves, and not to feed that energy. This is why, I mean, you might have even seen like people that don't like our stuff online. We don't answer back to it in 99% of cases because we don't want to feed it, right? We don't want to feed it. If your purpose is to bring positivity in the world, don't feed it. Still address it, make boundaries, create new systems, change legal systems, whatever it is if you can, right? But the most important thing is you as an individual, don't feed it. If you aren't crying every day over the hundreds of thousands of deaths of heart disease, cancer, car accidents, all that, this was 50, 60 people. But it hits closer to home because it's an act of pure evil meant to traumatize you. So we also have to make a decision to move past that. Me or Julian, we don't have any answers for this. We don't know what happened. There's a million conspiracy theories about why it could even happen that I've read about, and mainstream accounts of it, conspiratorial accounts of it. There's a lot of different views of it. I know that with my cousin, Dylan, when he killed himself, we didn't really see that coming. So there's clearly some dark voice that's communicating with him. Like he could be with his family and be good, but there's this dark passenger in him that is communicating to him in this like separate world. And at some point it takes over, right? Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, like they didn't harm other people, but in many ways they do by the family they leave behind. There's something that just, at some point, that they're flirting with that takes over. And we see this in gamblers. We see this in sex addiction. We see this in drug addiction, alcohol addiction, where somebody has trauma, they have a personality disorder, where there's broken off, split apart parts of the brain. It could be genetic and handed down in the DNA, or it could be something that got triggered, right? Like it's in their DNA to be crazy, but then the trauma really triggers it. It's like the seed of that craziness was there, but then the trauma triggers it. And they're going into levels that are beyond our ability to understand. Science is making a lot of headway in understanding it. A lot of these weird spiritual esoteric ideas can give some explanations for it. I recommend you look up like the idea of like entity possession, like the idea that maybe there's like broken off spiritual chunks of energy that we draw them onto us. It's like you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. High vibration attracts more high vibration, low vibration attracts more low vibration. So like in spiritual growth, they'd say that when you're in a really low vibration state, then you resonate with things like shit talking, negativity, victimhood, then alcohol, drugs, which then opens you up to negative fucking spirits, and then those take over and you're just too far gone. Or you can do things like the sharing, the growth, and then all of a sudden, eating healthy, not engaging with this like fucked upness as much as you can, which we all do, right? And then as you move up, you're almost attracting a high vibration thing. Like when Julien said, when him and I do like public speaking on a good day, we have our moments and not lower moments too. It's like something takes you over. At a great night at a bar or club, we're so addicted on that because you go out and just start laughing and just being joyful. It's like you realize there's another perspective. It's like we all live in the same physical world, but it's like a different energetic world. Or maybe you just look at it scientifically, modern psychology, just brain neurotransmitters, acetylcholine, GABA, serotonin, dopamine, regions of the mind being activated, empathy, and so on and so forth. And I know that for me, I was able to cure or vastly improve a lot of the fucked up shit I was dealing with when I was younger just by studying the modern psychology of people that were really happy. Read books like The Happiness Hypothesis, great modern psychological books on happiness, research on happiness. There's a great Harvard class on happiness. You can read books on that. So what I did was I was just so desperate. I studied everything, how diet affects it, how action affects it. Like I just was so desperate to improve myself that I just studied everything, right? So when you hear some like the whacked up stuff we study, that's like, we're just so wanting to improve, we'll just study everything, okay? And just studying that, you can make such a difference. Whatever you feel, you could feel differently. That's the message that I would give to anybody. Like this reality, what you think is real, there's a different perspective where you could feel so different. And I probably think that like, the Elliot Rodgers of the world or this guy from yesterday are probably too far gone. Like, like some people will be like, if only they would have known about RSD, they would have, like, no, okay, that's past our realm, way past it, okay? Like, making them crowd surf into seminars is probably not gonna fix that, that's too far gone. But, this isn't like some video like, if only they had known, right? It's not like that. But it's just, we don't have answers, but we just wanted to make a video on the topic of evil and maybe also on the topic of grace and what it could mean to move up, what it means for you to recognize, when you see this in others, recognize it in yourself, and to remember that there was millions of deaths this year that you're not mourning. This was an act of pure evil. It's meant to traumatize you, but do what you can to affect positive change if you can. But the most important thing is that within yourself, you keep moving up, okay? Because the goal of this, the purpose of it is to get you in that fear state. The purpose of it is so that we can't, that energy wants us not to go celebrate. It wants us not to go to concert. It wants us not to like win and have fun, right? It's like if somebody puts a troll comment in a YouTube video, the purpose of it is like you just release this beautiful video, it's to fuck up your celebration of that video, right? It's that like all of our crappiest videos never get like trolls, right? But it's all of our best videos, a lot of times they attract the most trolls because it's like a great high vibration piece. There's a desire to pull it down. If we, teach something holistic, there could be a desire in mainstream media to pull that down. If there's thousands of people out celebrating, there could be some guy who's whacked out of his mind. That energy takes him over and says, don't let them celebrate. Don't let the world move up. It has to be held down. And you have to make a decision not to let that infect you and to move up. We don't have answers on this. This is past our realm. We're not the experts. These are areas that we're students like you, right? We have our core areas that we're experts. This is past that point. So this is just drawing your attention to areas that you could further study or could interest you. And we hope you enjoyed any other.
Yeah, just remember too, you're not alone. It sounds so cliche, like you're not alone, but it's true. Like the same as like there's that other reality. It's like you close off, everyone's different than me, I'm so fucked, I'm such a defect. No. Like we're all cut from the same cloth. You are not alone. That's the biggest one I leave with.
Yeah, people care. People give a fuck.
You are part of something bigger.
Yeah, there's another reality. When you're in, get attuned to what presence is, get attuned to what pain is. We all have it. Don't be embarrassed about it. get a palette for it, sense what's running you, and then move up, and then help others to move up, okay? That's it. If you were affected by anything that happened yesterday, okay? And that's it. Thanks.